All right, guys, I just wanted to go over a quick little maybe tutorial for people who haven't found an answer for this yet, or maybe they have. This is for Power Director 365, the Power Director subscription service. I think the latest version is Power Director 21. They should be going to a Power Director 22 for this year. It should work the same. I don't see why it wouldn't. So basically, one of the things I just found this out, and I only found it out because I got curious about like what something did, and I was just like, what? And I haven't been doing this for 2 years while doing it. This would have saved me tons and tons of time. So I did some of the pre legwork here. So I use a grid system when I do my 9:16 ratioed videos, which 9:16 is 1080 by 1920 instead of 16:9, which is 1920 by 1080. Obviously, we're flopping the other side around. And so one of the things that I end up doing is I have a grid. Now, to set up a grid, you right click the preview window and you go down to where it says grid lines. I use an 8x8 and it works out perfectly for the like new format that all the creators are using now, where you've got like the blurred gameplay in the back and then like the, you know, actual gameplay in the front that's crystal clear for the 9:16 content on TikTok. I use it on shorts. I don't see too many people using the blurred background on shorts, but hey, you know what? Everybody does their own thing, so it is what it is. So in the legwork, what I basically do is, and now you can do it multiple ways. What I usually like to do is I go to the FX tab on the left. The FX tab is where I have favorited it, but you can always just go over to the search box and you can type in blur, and then there's your blur. And I make sure that the track that I want to do the blurred out images is darker than the other track. And I right click on that, you apply it, it hits all the clips. And of course, now you're not seeing it because you would think number one would be on top. Well, it's not. Number one is like the base, the background. Number two is on top of that. Number three would be on top of number two and number one. So that's how you get your layers in Power Director 365. Now, I don't know if I personally have it set that way or if that's default. It's probably default because I don't remember changing anything, but hey, you know, I mean, I could have, I may have, who knows. But anyway, so after I get my blur done, I was messing around here and I was right clicking on things and I was like, well, what is keyframe attributes? And if I copy them, what happens? Well, there's a place in here where you can edit the clip keyframe. You can do adjustments, effects, clip attributes, etc. and so forth. But my big thing is I want to save time on how I do my stuff. So my blurred gameplay footage is in the back, and then I pull it out to about here in the preview window, which isn't quite what would be the dimensions of 16:9 and 9:16 for just the cut window. But this is what I like. This is what my viewers have liked. Everybody that has been viewing it this way has liked it. Now, for longest time, I was just pulling that down, not pulling it out, and then I was just leaving like the center video like this. And I mean, people liked it, but they were like, man, there's too much blur going on. We don't really like it so much. You know, you need to have more video. So you saw that I pulled out the first part here out to this. And then my bottom part, this is where the 8x8 grid comes in. I pull this on down, and because you have grids, it snaps to each of the lines. So it snaps to that 8x8. I only have an eighth of the visible screen on either side blurred out, so it gives it that nice effect that everyone, like I said, is using right now. Like, that's the new thing. And then when I pull it out wide to pull out the actual, what would be the sliver of the 16:9, it snaps to the other one. Okay, great. So we have that, right? Well, now I've been doing this manually up until yesterday when I figured this out, and I was like, oh my god, I could have been saving so much time if I knew this before. So essentially you want to go down to each, it doesn't save it for both. It saves it for each track individually, so you have to do it individually. So you'll right click on that first one and you'll do copy keyframe attributes. And then since that one's already been done, you can't redo it. So you would select the next one, and then for all the videos in the chain, you'll hit shift, left shift, and left click, and it will select all the rest of them. You right click on that very first one, and you do paste keyframe attributes. And then bam, they're all done. Every single one of those is now done in that square that I pulled out earlier. So I'm not doing it and hoping that I get it basically as close to the other one. They're all exactly perfect the same. So you do the same thing on the bottom. You do your first clip in the track, which I've already done here. You right click it, you copy the keyframe attributes, you do this. Now when you do this when you've got an audio track on there, when you do the shift and the left click, you got to make sure that you're selecting the video side of it, because if you do it over the audio or in the center, it doesn't want to select them all. I don't know why that is, but it does that. Do the same thing, right click it, paste keyframe, bam, all of them are just done, just like that. No more. I'm not having to do this manually anymore. I do it on 2 and it does them all. And like for me, as you can see here, like I've got 25 clips here. So when you're doing that manually for 25 clips, it's tedious. That's what was taking a lot of my time up. So I've literally just saved myself a half an hour of doing each clip individually that way, and then going and pulling my clips from there. So now I can use that half hour for, you know, if I screwed something up or whatever, I have it. So that's basically it. There isn't a way in PowerDirector 365 at the moment to save this as a custom keyframe attribute. I wish that we could, but you know, maybe if they watch this video, they would consider adding something like that to the software where we can do custom stuff like this and then make it a plugin or something, you know, or maybe they already have that ability and I don't know about it. Who knows? But anyway, for people that are using PowerDirector 365, any version, I'm sure, of PowerDirector, probably I would say 16 and up, because I think keyframe attributes have been there for quite some time. So this should work for anything from 16 and up. You know, if you've got an older software that you paid for and you just don't want to upgrade. I mean, obviously 365 has a lot of other stuff that you can do. And now they've added, you know, a more recent thing they've added here is you can do speech to text and closed captions. I have been experimenting with it, and I still haven't quite figured it out. It's not as easy as like TikTok's version of you know, where you do it on your phone and it's done. So I'll figure that out eventually. But anyway, keyframe attributes, that's how you do it. That's how you can quickly edit your 9x16s for phone setup. And yeah, so I hope this helps somebody out there. Y'all have a good one. Peace.